unlike asteroids. Yeah, that's it. Get 'em. Get 'em. Beautiful. Watch it. Disintegrate.
Get your groove on, classic gamers. It's the end of the decade. These are the video game years, and welcome to 1979.
1979 was the year that I graduated from 8th grade. So I'm really that old.
As the 70s fizzle, the video gaming world keeps popping. Vectors take gaming in a new direction.
The graphics were really crisp and sharp, and I mean, I still think they look really good today.
Are you smart enough for intelligent television?
Intelligent? Television. Intellivision.
Atari brings everyone on an adventure.
You're a man on a mission. Okay, you're a pixel on a mission.
Plus, the home computer becomes fun, and the asteroids are out to get you. So, get your disco dancing in now, and save up for some leg warmers. These are the video game years, and this is 1979.
We have adventure.
Adventure was the stuff.
The very first moment for me with home gaming definitely came with adventure for the Atari 2600.
This was more than just Pong, it was more than just combat, you know, it was something that actually made you think. It was really the first action-adventure game on a home console system.
That was the first time ever playing a game where it really felt like there were things going on in the world around you outside of that little screen.
This game had mazes, dungeons, castles, keys, secrets, all sorts of things.
And so you were just this tiny little block.
Highly detailed in your pixelated squareness.
And there's these guys that are kind of doing their own thing on the screen that you're on, but at the same time, there's things moving around all around you. So this bat is grabbing stuff from someplace else and trading it with you. The dragon is off on a screen in the maze somewhere, guarding a key that you need.
And you have objectives you have to go to and accomplish in order. You have to find the key, find this object, avoid the duck, dragon thing.
Most of the graphics of the day were pretty crude by today's standards. Oh, except for the dragons. Now those look totally realistic, and they drove me quackers.
Those were dragons? Those were not dragons. Those were giant yellow ducks.
Quack quack. Quack quack, motherfucker.
This is for all the adventurers out there who died in the dragon's belly.
Oh, and one of the dragons is named Grundle. I just thought that was funny.
You could master the game and still always find a real challenge in there.
Very influential though for adventure games to come. Obviously, Legend of Zelda, basic structure comes from adventure.
So all you Legend of Zelda fans out there, you have adventure on 2600 to thank.
The very first video game Easter egg was found in the game Adventure.
The creator, Warren Robinette, actually was kind of angry that he never got credit for the game, put an Easter egg into it.
If you found an invisible key, basically a key that was the same color as the background, you found this key, you might have picked it up just randomly by accident. And then if you put it into this invisible door on a wall that was otherwise not marked, you could find this invisible room.
And the screen's flickering like crazy. I'm like, are you sure this is right? And sure enough, he walks off that screen where there had always been a wall that you couldn't pass, and there it is, created by Warren Robinette.
I don't know how in the world people could have found this back in the day.
Oh, the guy was an instant god to us who were into the games like that. Like, look at that, he got his name in there too.
Atari wasn't having that, you know, they didn't think that was necessary information to be in there.
Oh yeah, he got in a lot of trouble for it. He did, they didn't like that at all.
They didn't give their programmers any kind of credit for creating the game so that they could just keep them to themselves.
Video game programmers weren't the most respected lot.
Didn't give them any royalties, didn't give them any credit for the games they were developing.
And it kind of just started this revolution.
And that's when a bunch of those people basically, did, I'm sure this is going to get blurred out, did this to Atari.
4 of Atari's top developers got together, left Atari, created Activision. Activision was founded on the basis of giving game programmers credit where credit is due.
Adventure is very important to the history of video games.
Activision would be the first major third-party software developer.
Right.
And that altered gaming history forever.
Love you, man.
Insert coin.
Vector-based graphics in video games. 79 was a breakout year for it.
Really crisp, really clear graphics. You know, relatively simple. Black and white for the most part at first. Eventually there were color vector games, but that's something completely different.
And you couldn't emulate vector graphics on a TV screen at home.
Pixel graphics were a little rudimentary sometimes for conveying what they were trying to say.
In the Atari and the television, they used blocks. And you know, you can't make a straight line or it's going to be like, look like a staircase.
I mean, it really created a faux three-dimensional feel to it.
Because of the lines going from thick to thin, you know, it would give you the appearance of something disappearing or getting closer to you in the distance.
You got awesome shapes and it had like this 3D and all that, and I have no idea how it worked.
They used, what's it called? Globulars.
I'm sure Rue knows, and this is the part of the video he'll explain.
You had the, you know, your cathode ray tube TV, you know, screen, if you will. And instead of having the electron gun kind of just going back and forth and putting out a picture of the whole, you know, field of play, you had it just zap, you know, geometric shapes out, and it would, the gun would shoot electrons directly at the screen and make these images.
See, that's who needs video games? I just did it right there.
There you go.
I like the way the Vectrix looks also.
Vector graphic. Well, Vectrix isn't around 1979, so that would be in the future. And yeah, so that's kind of like a time paradox thing.
Yeah, but that's for another episode, I'm sure.
That's for another episode. But that shit was cool though.
A few, 3 people might remember a game called Lunar Lander.
And I remember playing it the first time and thinking, these physics are completely unrealistic, and it's only because I was used to video game physics being unrealistic.
You had a little lunar lander, which you know, could try to land on the moon, and you would control it and be exciting. But it was vector graphics.
Warrior came out and it used vector graphics, but at the time it didn't really have the power to render the backgrounds. So what you had to do was put overlays on it.
That was the very first head-to-head fighting game.
And you had 2 guys with like these laser swords. It was, come on, they were lightsabers.
Star Wars came out a couple years earlier. It was still really big, hot.
Maybe they should have actually marketed it as a Star Wars game. Maybe they could have gotten more sales.
Technically, the precursor to Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and all games like that where you're fighting head-to-head against your buddy.
You had some really great vector graphics games come out this year.
And opened the door for vector programming, which, you know, those types of games to this day are unique.
High score.
And now Rue presents the gaming innovation of 1979.
Hello. Welcome to the gaming innovation of 1979. What new technology graced the world and changed the face of video gaming forever? Compact discs were introduced to the international media for the first time this year. A joint venture between Sony and Philips. They were only meant to hold audio data at first. But by the mid-80s, the CD-ROM was developed, and the dawn of the 90s brought about whole video games on these babies. Without this, we'd never have full motion video.
I love the smell of the sewers in the morning. They smell like victory!
That does it for the gaming innovation of 1979. Be sure to come back next year, and don't forget, it's not just nostalgia, it's science. Yes.
Coming up on part 2 of the video game years, 1979.
What comes to mind, of course, it's Ultima. This kid, Lord British, like a high schooler at the time, as Richard Garriott was.
Yep.
Yeah. Lord British.
The AI for the enemies was a lot better. Some of them almost had like their own personalities, where they would perform suicide dives out of nowhere, things like that.